Alright, this is how I figured out my windshield wipers were not working. Here's the windshield wiper motor. And so they weren't working when I flipped the switch. So I bought a new motor. This is a new motor, and they still weren't working. So how I figured out they weren't working is with this little cheap $7 multimeter from Harbor Freight. Put the ground, the cords are all tangled up, on the solid ground that I know is a good ground. Alright, so now that I got it on a good ground, I was testing it. I made sure it had power to the pigtail right here, right behind it. You can't see it. I had to take out this whole motor, and what I figured out is that it was all getting power, but I didn't know if there was ground. So what I did is I first checked right here. You can see I'm getting ground now, but it wasn't getting ground. And then I checked on this plate. Kind of have to scratch it. But there, now you see it's getting ground. So that means from here to here, there's a connection. But there wasn't before. And then I checked to the bolt. Right here. Ground. Then under the bolt, there's a little collar. Checked on that collar. There was no ground. And then I checked. Actually, there was ground to the bolt. There was ground to the collar. But behind the collar, right back here, I don't know if you guys can see that, there's a little strap, and that was not getting ground. So I knew between the strap and the collar right here, there was no ground. And so all I had to do was loosen up this bolt, take it out, or all you would have to do, and get some pliers and grab hold of this collar right under that pushes into this rubber boot. I don't know how well you can see that. I don't think you can see that at all. I'll show you the place that I checked. So right here is the bolt. I was getting ground to that. It's not getting ground to this strap right here. I was getting ground to this collar. So all you would have to do is pull this bolt out. Pull that collar out a little bit. You don't even have to pull it all the way out. It wouldn't matter though. Pull it. It would help if you pulled it all the way out. Pull it all the way out, and then you steer. On mine, there's a little bit of rust on the inside of it where it made contact with the strap, the copper strap. So I sanded that rust off, and I sanded off the top of the strap, and then I put it back in, and I was getting contact from the strap to the collar. And so it's a pretty big pain in the butt to take this thing in and out. So what I did is I took a test lead, hooked it to the casing of this, plugged it into there, hooked it to hooked the test lead to a ground, turned it on. This started to turn. So I put it all back together, made sure this was all getting ground right here, from this to this bolt, and then this bolt to a ground to make sure everything was getting ground, and it started working. And so the reason I found that out was, you know, you think, well, it's getting power, but is it getting ground? You just got to think, okay, I'm doing this, and this is not happening, but what does this need to start happening? And that's how I managed to get my windshield wipers working.